Good morning. It is Wednesday, March 26, 9:01 a.m. My name is Frankie Olivo, and this is Live with Frankie. We did have some scattered showers last night. It is set to rain. 70% chance of rain precipitation this afternoon. I was going to start off with my award-winning segment of the weather, but I am going to wait. I just got a new camera. I'm actually using it right now. So let me know if it's different compared to the previous few days that I've been on. I am working on setting up 3 cameras. That way I can give y'all different angles because it's all about angles, right? Um, I was speaking with Danny Salinas from Brownsville Tech Live, and if you haven't, if you're not following Danny Salinas, make sure you do so. I want to do the weather segments, but I want to do it standing up. You know how they have it, how they have that girl, how they have those meteorologists standing, walking. That's what I anticipate doing. But of course, if you haven't already, make sure you follow our page on Facebook. We're under Frankie Olivo. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. And if you are, or if you do want to contribute, who are we to say no? There is a way for you to help us grow. We will be creating content as much as possible. We did make a commitment to come before you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. every day. So there is a way for you to contribute to the page by sending stars, and I'm appreciative of people who did send star emojis, but it's not star emojis. You can purchase stars on Facebook. There is a store for that, and 1 star equals a penny, so to speak. So again, if you'd like to contribute, who am I? Who am I to say no? Good morning, Martinez. How's your day going? It looks like it's gonna be a gloomy day. The gloomy days are my favorite. I like when it's raining, when it's dark. To me personally, that is my favorite, to be in Piernao. Who doesn't want to be that? My man, David Cook, sending stars. But again, David, don't send emoji stars. Send the real stars. I'm just joking. My friends are going off in the chat. El Vato wants to be a weatherman también. I don't like your background page you have. I got one for you. But nonetheless, thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Lozano, how's it going? Jose Angel. Jose Angel is an artist. He did have his art pieces on display on the island, if I'm not mistaken. There was several events. He did invite me, and I do apologize, Lozano, for not attending. But please let me know whenever the next one is, and I guarantee you I'll be there, my man. Thank you so much for following and for tuning in. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. We're going to be talking today about I want to say a very polarizing issue here in Cameron County, here in the city of Brownsville, and that is SpaceX. And many individuals are very passionate about our local area. Growing up, we have been fortunate, very, very fortunate. And I say that and I stress that because we didn't realize how fortunate we was until it was taken away from us. Growing up, geographically speaking, we've had the luxury of choosing to go to South Padre or going to Boca Chica Beach. Growing up, I have very fond memories of Boca Chica Beach. My grandfather used to have a camper, and he would take us out in the summer. It was one of those that you would drive, and I believe maybe a good 15 of us would sleep in there, of course, on the floors, wherever there was room. But I have great memories of going to Las Cruces, New Mexico. We went to Disneyland, Disney World. We went to San Antonio, SeaWorld, almost every summer. Great memories in that camper. But I also remember going to Boca Chica Beach. And I remember, and I say this without due respect, but growing up, we had money. We weren't rich, but in my mind, we would go to South Padre whenever we had money. Because I remember what Isla Blanca they would charge. So I wouldn't say we were poor, but we were okay. But whenever we didn't have the means, we would always go to Boca Chica Beach, and beautiful, beautiful memories with my family. I remember my Albert Alalise, and Albert was the oldest one of the cousins, and he would practice baptizing Amy, Jamie, all of us. He would, we'd be in the water playing, and he would be practicing baptizing us or baptizing anybody that wanted it. But nonetheless, we all can agree that we have fond memories of Boca Chica Beach, and for many individuals here, my friends are avid fishermen, and we're very privileged to have um, areas where people could go out and fish. We have Gaiman's Bridge. We have other spots, other secret spots that all these fishermen know about. But Boca Chica Beach, for many people, has been an area where we would camp out, fish, and create lasting memories. It wasn't until SpaceX came into our local area that everybody started, I guess, appreciating Boca Chica Beach more. And I don't want to say everybody, because again, the avid fishermen, the ones that would go continuously to Boca Chica Beach, well, they used it. But it's like that saying goes: you really don't know what you have until you lose it. Boca Chica Beach, for many, represented natural wildlife, to be out in the open. And we have natural habitat. We have um, endangered species, the ocelots. I believe they're endangered species. We have wildlife that we remember seeing. Because of SpaceX, now all that went away, and um, I'm kind of in the middle of this. It's very hard for me um, to dissect what we had and what was taken from us. Many people, many hardcore environmentalists, argue, hey, this is Mother Earth, this is Mother Nature. We shouldn't damage it. We should preserve it. We should take care of it as much as possible, because we want the future generations to appreciate it. One thing that is for certain is that SpaceX no longer belongs to the citizens of Brownsville. Um, Elon Musk. Elon Musk in 2014 was given the keys, so to speak, to the area. There was a time where he was discussing whether he wanted to set up shop in Florida or in our backyard in South Texas. Geographically speaking, we here in Brownsville was a perfect location for SpaceX because of the trajectory of the curve of, I know what you're going to say, oh, the earth is not flat. But geographically speaking, SpaceX was an ideal spot for rocket launching. In 2014, Elon Musk was given tax abatement for 10 years. And we are at the end of those 10 years. I wanted to talk about this issue because it is something that many individuals have argued against and said, we sold ourselves to the world's richest man. Currently, with President Donald Trump leading the free world, we have seen how Elon Musk has pretty much become his right-hand man. A few days ago, we previously saw how he was at the head of the table of his cabinet, where they talk about very delicate, important information in regards to geopolitics, domestic issues. Currently, right now, we see how Tesla has been getting a lot of backlash. Their facilities, their vehicles have come under attack. And Elon Musk has been there next to the president, talking to the leaders, the cabinet members, and discussing important issues. We can all agree that now Elon Musk has free reign. Before, and if I may set paint a picture for you, back in 2014, this picture and this one that I'm was the start of Elon Musk setting up shop in Brownsville, Texas. What we have seen since then has been that SpaceX is the one that controls the closures of our local beach. Now, based on the Texas Constitution, the beaches are under the authority of the local county officials. And in our charter, the guidelines read that the closures of the beach, or in our agreement, I apologize, in our agreement with SpaceX, they were only allocated a certain amount of hours in which they were able to close down access. Now, this ticked off a lot of people because, again, you're going to tell me that someone from the outside is going to tell us who live here when we can go and enjoy our area. Now, it's very important for us to ask the question: does SpaceX benefit Cameron County and the city of Brownsville? That's very interesting, Danny. Not the first time Boca Chica was considered for rocket launches. It was also considered a possible launch site by NASA in the 1950s. That's very interesting. I think we would obviously be having a different discussion if our local area, if we grew up with NASA in our backyard. Obviously, everything would change. But I want to ask the community this question: do we benefit from SpaceX launching rockets here in our local area? I have spoken with environmentalists who are very angry and have said we sold ourselves for money. Others, on the other hand, have questioned and stated, well, nobody valued it. What were people doing? People were going to fish, but how many in numbers? Was it a large amount of people that would flock to Boca Chica Beach in the hundreds or thousands? I struggle with answering, does SpaceX benefit our local area? And what have we seen? We have seen our local housing market skyrocket. Here, here where I live next to the airport off of Minnesota, Paso Real, property taxes went up from $700 to $2,500. And this is a modest home, maybe all in all, 1,500 square foot house. And everybody has been outraged and said, man, my taxes went up. I can't buy a home. Before, well, the only time, the best time to buy a home was during COVID, because we saw that, cash was king and prices dipped. But we can all agree that the housing market has been affected by it. Now, a house that cost you $120,000, $140,000, $150,000 maybe, are now going for $290,000, $300,000. It is a realtor's dream, or a seller's dream, so to speak. What was interesting from all this is that we were sold on the idea that Brownsville would be the place where we finally landed rockets to Mars. I thought it was because of the arena to be built. Are you talking about the taxes, Danny? I'm not sure about that. We could take a look at that. Are you talking about the taxes? Are you talking about the property values? I'm not sure. I think our taxes obviously will go up if an arena is in the works. Obviously. But I don't think that's the case. I believe it's more because of SpaceX, and we have seen how individuals, the mothership was California, right? Well, previous before the headquarters for SpaceX, yeah. I don't believe so. I think it was more because of SpaceX where our property values went up, which caused taxes to rise. But it was more. I don't think it was more for the arena. I think it was more because of SpaceX and what it brought with it. Because at one time, California was the headquarters of SpaceX. After Gavin Newsom and Elon Musk had a little back and forth, just recently, Texas officially became the headquarters for Tesla. And I think SpaceX, and I think for the rest of Elon Musk companies, with the exception of the Boring Company, I think he set up shop in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, because Vegas is also a tax-free state. Correct me if I'm wrong, but nonetheless, we were sold with the idea. That's very interesting, Gene. Brownsville was considered at one time to build a Navy base, so we can all agree that geographically speaking, our area is a place where it is an ideal spot, whether it be for our military, as Gene stated, whether it be for our for NASA, as Danny stated, of them considering back in the 1950s. We can all agree that this seems to be the place, an ideal spot for aerospace, for launching rockets, and that's the idea. That's what we were sold on. The idea that Boca Chica to Mars was real. If you've been following Elon Musk, he has stated on the record that he anticipates landing on Mars and having people colonize in 20 to 30 years. Now, we understand how quick technology moves, and how rapid new innovation is created. I think about televisions. Televisions, if you buy a TV today, by tomorrow, it's already, it's already outdated. Elizabeth Dearlum wants to know when was this about the Navy setting up a base here, Gene? If you could give us a little background on that, that's very interesting. I've never heard about that. I did hear about NASA. I just didn't know the year. Um, but if you going back to technology, we can all agree that everything is outdated quickly. Um, so we are being sold. We were once being sold, and we're still being sold that the idea that humans could colonize, could send a rocket and land on another planet is a reality. And Brownsville is the place. Boca Chica to Mars, and this painting, this mural is located in downtown Brownsville, I believe on Adams Street. I've gone and taken a picture at night. I just don't remember, but it is located downtown. I think at one time it was vandalized by some radicals. But if you do want to go take a picture, I highly encourage you. It's a nice painting. But nonetheless, we were sold with the idea that Boca Chica to Mars could one day be a reality. Now, our state is business friendly, so as long as the GOP maintains control, companies like SpaceX will continue to flock to the area. And you're absolutely right, Danny. What we have seen has been that Governor Abbott has done a great job of making the state of Texas business friendly. And we have benefited from the hiatus of individuals leaving, of businesses leaving the state of California. And Texas, being a tax-free state, has benefited from in California. It's crazy. The taxes are high across the board, but we can agree the state of Texas is very business friendly, and Governor Abbott and his team have done a great job of accomplishing this, which is very, very important. But I asked myself, are we selling ourselves short? Are we giving up our most prized possession for peanuts? It's difficult for me to make the argument that this is what's best for humanity. Launches will be from the Cape in Florida and Starbase to keep up with Elon's schedule. The only factor that could dent those plans is if Democrats wrestle control of Congress in the midterms. And right now, the Republicans have it all. They have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. So they could essentially do as they wish. But again, elections are coming up. And elections have consequences. So you're absolutely correct, Danny. The midterm elections will determine the foreseeable future in regards to everything. Democrats hate Elon but love their Teslas. That's the caveat. And we did previously speak about Teslas being under attack. We have seen videos go viral of individuals vandalizing, keying cars. The Tesla store was, I'm not sure if they found bombs or that they threatened the Tesla facility, but nonetheless, go vote. That's the best way for you to demonstrate your displeasure with these individuals. Don't resort to violence, ladies and gentlemen. Boca Chica Beach was an ideal location, according to many. And what we have seen as of late has been that it seems as if they're not going to go away. Elon Musk, I believe, did state, and again, every savvy businessman always throws that out there, right? Like, oh, well, we might leave. There might be a possibility where we won't be in Brownsville no more. But again, you always throw that out whenever you are trying to obtain leverage. It's part of their playbook. But we have seen the investment that Tesla is currently in Olmito, right outside of Brownsville, and SpaceX have made in our local area. And with the pitch back in 2014 that Brownsville, Cameron County was given, was that SpaceX was not, well, it was going to be, I guess, good for the community because of the billions of dollars that were going to be invested. Now, my question to the community is, do we favor giving up our local habitat? Are we upset that we no longer have access to our beaches? Many people have stated, well, nobody used it anyway. And I do want to state here that our local elected officials, our local senators, have made it possibly even harder. There was a bill that was submitted for beach access limits at lawn sites. There are two new bills, one from Jenny Lopez, our local, I apologize, not two senators, Jenny Lopez, our local representative from San Benito, and Senator Adam Hinojosa, who introduced a bill that would give Texas municipality the authority to close beaches and beach access for space flight activities. Now, currently, right now, SpaceX launching in Cameron County, well, they are under the orders of Cameron County Judge Eddie Trevino and Commissioner's Court. But recently, in February, Cameron County, they did sign an order. They signed an order allowing for a vote for Starbase to be incorporated. And we spoke about this yesterday momentarily about how the city of Brownsville would ultimately lose. And I believe there was I believe it was Susan who did post yesterday and stated, Starbase is not Brownsville. And she is correct. Starbase is not Brownsville. What I meant to say was, or what I was going at was that ultimately Brownsville is going to lose, because how many people do you think are going to want to relocate to Starbase? Because again, it's the new wave. Man, I'm going to live close to rockets. I'm going to live close to Elon. They are going to build a $15 million plaza facility that's going to be, their featured attraction. So Brownsville ultimately is going to lose. But nonetheless, in February, Cameron County Judge Eddie Trevino did sign an order allowing for individuals to vote whether Starbase could be its own city, which is up for election in this upcoming May, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to show the boundaries of Boca Chica Village right now. Now, this legislation, it would allow, Texas municipalities to close temporarily the beaches. Now, this bill is in conflict and is hard to determine who has the authority, because ultimately this bill that was submitted by Senator Hinojosa and Representative Lopez, this bill applies to counties that contain spaceports. Boca Chica, Cameron County is officially listed as the FAA designated spaceport. So if a vote to incorporate Starbase is successful, if it passes, if the citizens vote to pass it, this bill would give the governing body of that municipality authority to close the beaches and access points. Now, and there is a that bill does come with a Class B misdemeanor for those that violate a court order. So it's going to be very, very interesting moving forward. Are we at odds with us and space exploration? SpaceX was given a tax break for 10 years. Now, being a small business owner, who wouldn't want a tax break, right? It's hard. It's hard for us to justify. Well, it is hard for me to justify how a big gorilla company could get a tax break, could get all these incentives, but a small business can't. But I know what you're thinking. Hey, these multi-billion-dollar entities, companies, well, they're investing billions of dollars in infrastructure. They're investing in our local economy. They are an attraction because who could remember? And I was present. I was present at the very first launch here at Isla Blanca, and it did attract individuals from all over the world. We set up shop. We set up shop to get a view of our local area. uh, to try and put it into perspective. Do we give up our local area? Should we give up our local area for the outside world? It's as if people come into our home. It's as if hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? It's as if individuals come into your home, make a mess, and then leave. How would you feel about that? Wouldn't you be a little ticked off if you say, "Hey, man, I sweat, I bleed for this home, only for others who don't care to come in and then just leave? Is that fair?" Well, in business, nothing really is fair. Just turn on the stream. What did I miss? Can you start from the beginning? Yes, we will. Just because of you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like the YouTube page. Get Facebook. Why aren't you on Facebook? My YouTube numbers aren't that great, so it would be better if you were on Facebook, my man. But thank you so much for being here. There is not enough property to house all of SpaceX employees. There will be a trickle-down effect to the rest of the county. There is need for property for rocket manufacturing and launch sites, so the surrounding communities, especially the island, will benefit. And that's what I'm going at, Danny, that while the argument has been that the city of Brownsville will be the one to benefit from it, I make the argument that it's not. Because you're coming from California. Would you want to live in Brownsville? And again, Brownsville prices compared to California, you can't compare. A house that costs 300,000 here in California it would be 500,000, 600,000, 700,000, depending on the location, right? Size as well, but there are other factors. But where would you want to live? In Brownsville or South Padre Island? I have seen individuals that, and know of individuals that work for SpaceX, work for LNG, and they choose to live on the island, and rightfully so. The island, I can attest, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But the expectation was that they're going to create jobs, that they're going to create many opportunities for our local area. Now, we can all agree that we do know someone that either works at SpaceX LNG, but are they making hundreds of thousands of dollars? My understanding is that those top paying jobs, engineer jobs, they're from foreigners. They're for people from California. But I pose this question because we are at the end of that tax abatement. Remember, going back to the picture, back in 2014, Cameron County gave SpaceX a 10-year tax abatement, which pretty much stated you don't have to give us nothing. Come build. And as the saying goes, if you build, they will come. We are at the end of those 10 years. And recently, recently, Cameron County Commissioner's Court, they approved a final tax break for SpaceX. What the news media didn't state was, well, what's going to happen after those 10 years? Because again, our contract is coming up. Our agreement, our MOU is coming up. What's going to happen afterwards? There was no details in regards to any information as to, well, what is going to happen? We can only anticipate that SpaceX will be giving another 10-year tax abatement. Should we, as a community, be outraged? Should we pose the question to Commissioner's Court? Well, if these individuals were given a tax break, tax abatement, why aren't entrepreneurs, individuals who create jobs, who pump money back into the local economy? I know what Commissioner's Court is going to think. They're probably going to laugh at us and say, well, you can't compare billions of dollars to what, a couple thousand, a couple 100,000, in my opinion. The weather by San Francisco Bay doesn't compare to our scorching summers, which is why many want to move over there, but their politics is wild. Yeah, California, and I'm fortunate enough to be licensed in the state of California to sell insurance, health insurance. I sell everything. I'm an insurance broker. But what I have seen has been that their Medicaid is running out because they're giving Medicaid to everybody, to citizens, non-citizens. The state of California has been in a disarray, and it seems as if it's going to belly up. We have seen the cities of San Francisco, Sam. We have seen LA, San Diego. You can't live there. You have to make at least 150,000 just to be comfortable. And if you've been to California and if you've been to LA, man, the houses are super small, but super expensive. How does the community feel about SpaceX? And again, I'm torn because I consider myself, I love Mother Earth. I want to save the local habitat. I want our future generations to be able to use the beaches. Now, a couple years ago, and shouts out to Buckhook. Buckhook, if you don't follow them, it is a brand of outdoorsmen. Jason if you don't follow them on Instagram. Book Hook. I asked my friend Jason, what's your thought? Does SpaceX LNG, does it affect 120K in San Diego is nothing? Yeah, it's really nothing. Like 120,000 in San Diego is just for you to get by. That 120,000 in Brownsville, you're living life. That should be all our goal, to be a to have a six-figure income in Brownsville. Man, you're right. 120 in California is barely making it. What was I going at? I got sidetracked. Nonetheless, the tax abatement are coming up. And Jason, I was asking my friend Jason, hey man, is what's going on in LNG? If you've gone on Highway 48 from Brownsville to the island, it is disgusting. It is ugly, because we're used to seeing sand, water, animals. I've seen Neo guys running across the street when I've been coming some mornings from the island. We don't see that anymore. And I've asked my friend Jason, hey man, doesn't this affect Mother Nature? Doesn't it affect the wildlife? What about fishing, Jason? There was also Elon Musk was also asking the county. Was it the county? I believe it was the county. Was it the state? The county to dispose of I don't know how many 1,000 tons of waste into our beaches. I haven't followed up with that. I should have. But I asked him, won't that affect fishermen, our shrimpers, which now, unfortunately, the fish shrimping industry is now farm raised. Well, the shrimping for sure. Now the product is not fresh from the Gulf. Now it's all farm raised. So it has affected it. And I asked him, hey man, is it going to affect our local area? And he said, Frankie, it's not. And I said, what, Jason? Really? You mean to tell me that all that waste, all those rockets being launched, all those the LNG, liquid nitrate gas, is not going to affect the fish? He said, man, do you know how big the ocean is? Do you know how large? And it kind of got me thinking. I was like, well, I guess we're fortunate enough to live in an area that to many of us is a paradise. But I question, are we bending over? Are we submitting ourselves to the world's richest man with the expectations that what he is doing is for the betterment of humanity? It's tough. It's tough because we do want the money. We do want the benefits that come with LNG, that come with SpaceX. But we don't want the repercussions. We don't want it to affect the wildlife. We don't want it to affect Mother Earth. We don't want it to affect local jobs, our local fishermen, our local shrimpers. It's kind of like having our cake and eating it too, right? We want this, but we don't want that. It's very interesting. But now with Elon Musk being at the helm in the inner circle of President Trump, you think the FAA will be able to corral him? I think, and if I'm not mistaken, he stated, or SpaceX stated, that they were going to be launching like a madman. Before, the FAA was very stringent and didn't allow them to launch. Now, who's going to tell them something? it's affecting our elderly on month-to-month paychecks. Well, that's interesting because what's the word? Gentrification? Is that the word? I believe that's the word. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. My friend texted me and he said, it's affecting our elderly month-to-month paychecks. It got me thinking, gentrification. We have a population here that is very poor. South Texas, Brownsville is one of the poorest cities, least educated cities in Texas and in the US. Think about the effects that gentrification has had on those individuals. I stated earlier that my grandparents' home were paying taxes from $700 last year to $2,500 this year. Now, fortunately, we do have the means, and we will be filing and objecting to this large increase. You're talking about, 3 times fold. But what about the individuals that don't have the means to do so? What about our elderly community, how my friend just stated, who live paycheck to paycheck on a fixed income from Social Security? And I'm fortunate enough to work with the elderly community, and I see firsthand how some individuals, they make $300, $500, $700, $900. Could we honestly make the argument that that will be enough for them to live? Rent. I used to have a 1-bedroom apartment back in 2012. I think from 2012 to 2014. I was paying $600. At that time, I was like, man, this is expensive. Now, that same 1-bedroom apartment could easily go for $1,000, $1,100. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we have seen, Sam, how the changes that SpaceX and LNG have brought to Brownsville. Property taxes have increased. We can't afford our rent. So you're correct, Sam. People don't realize the magnitude of changes that SpaceX and LNG will have on the city of Brownsville. While we can all agree that a multi-billionaire coming investing in our local area does come with some benefit, it also comes with some repercussions. What's going to happen to our elderly population that can't afford the increase in property taxes? Now, they are those exemptions and things like that, but just because you get the over 65 exemption doesn't mean that the taxes keep accruing, right? Because ultimately somebody's going to have to pay eventually. While it maybe not that elderly individual that's living in that home, but whoever takes possession of that home eventually is going to have a large bill one day. What are your thoughts on the tax abatement that will be pouring in? How is Brownsville poor if everyone is driving $60,000 to $70,000 trucks and cars? That's very true, Hernandez. And I'm going to get in trouble for this. I apologize beforehand because I know. I apologize what I'm about to say, and please don't hold it against me. I know people who, and there's no shame, I live in a trailer. There's no shame in my game. But I know people that live in a trailer. I know people that live in a rundown home. I know people that are living with their parents, but are driving bien paletosos, Mercedes, trucks, brand new. And I asked myself, geez, man. And again, no disrespect. I say this with all humility. I would never do that. I learned from my friend, I'm gonna say his name, Albert. I think my friend Albert is a very intelligent man. And that guy has he just sold this truck, but he had that truck. That was his gift from high school. So he didn't have a car payment for 20 plus years. But you know what he did during those 20 plus years? He invested in the stock market. He bought himself a condo at the island and greatly benefited from it, because at one point, and I'm sorry, Albert, for throwing out your information, but I love you, man. He bought it for 180. Right now, if he wanted to, he could get 350, 400. It's a fisherman's paradise. The view that he has of the bay is $1 million view. If we were like Albert and we're satisfied with having a vehicle that got us from point A to point B, imagine the great things that we would do with our lives. And, you know, I was a part of that, because again, it's all a mental thing. We want to show off. We want to, hey, I'm balling. But you're absolutely right. How is Brownsville so poor if everybody's driving around $60,000 to $70,000 trucks with payments of $8,000, $9,000, $1,000? But we can't have our necessities. Following up on my Navy base comment, at one time the Navy was considering a Navy base there to assist the dismantling of Navy ships, but they drew back and the contract was given to shipbreaking. So now the Navy sends some of its decommissioned ships down here. Yes, and it's a big deal, right, Gene? Whenever they do send ships that were in war, if I'm not mistaken. Very important, very publicized ships. I want to say that we recently received the ship that was going to be decommissioned. I forgot which one it was, and it's a big deal. People go out there and take pictures, and it's kind of like an honor. Like, wow, this ship that served in either a war or was stationed somewhere on the Persian Gulf or God knows where is in our local backyard. Many people, value and appreciate that, and rightfully so. Thank you so much, Gene, for giving us that little history lesson. I myself did not know, so it's very important for us to learn about these things. But nonetheless, SpaceX. Well, we can all agree that that SpaceX does come with some benefit. It also comes with repercussions. SpaceX is at the end of their 10-year tax abatement. Cameron County just signed and approved a final tax break for SpaceX. What we don't have no information on is what's going to happen. What's the new agreement? And again, SpaceX is in the middle of developing a school, developing a multi-million-dollar plaza infrastructure. They're not going to leave. I know they have threatened the idea of, we're leaving. I think somebody even mentioned to me, they're going to move to Georgia. I thought, Georgia? Why Georgia? SpaceX is not going to leave. SpaceX is here for the long haul. How does that affect the citizens of Brownsville? How does that affect the citizens of Cameron County? Are you in agreement with giving SpaceX another tax break? Should we give a tax break to business owners? Brownsville's economy is rough. Wages are low. Buy Brownsville will continue to grow, but prices will go up. I don't want to throw this out and people will say, you're fear-mongering. There is anticipation of the U.S. going into another recession. As we all know, money is tight. It's difficult for us to live a modest life. It really is. Before before it seems as if our dollar got us a lot. Now that dollar is not as strong as it once was. What is interesting? Pipe down there, Gene. They say the History Channel. Nah, Gene means nothing but good. Thank you so much, Gene, for giving us that information. Prior to SpaceX, Boca Chica was littered with dirty diapers, broken beer bottles, rusted fish hooks, and an occasional abandoned car, all for high school students to clean their mess on beach cleanups day. And that's what I was discussing, Danny. We don't know what we have until we lose it, right? It's like that relationship where, man, why didn't I value her? Or, man, why didn't I value him? I had it good when I was with that person. And now when we're alone and miserable, we're like, oh, well, hopefully I'll find someone else that will love me. That's how I've been. That's how I've been in previous relationships. I've been like, man, I had it good. We don't know what we have until we lose it. Is that the same sentiment that we have with Boca Chica? We had it good. We had paradise in our backyard, and we lost it. SpaceX isn't leaving. SpaceX needs Brownsville fuel to its location. They had the ball in their court, and the politicians dropped the ball. It's all about leverage. It's all about leverage. Who could get the better side of the deal? That is very important. That is very important moving forward. They've been launching rockets from the Florida coast for 60 years, and not a single alligator or manatee has been lost. It is a tree hugger hypocrisy. That's interesting. That is very interesting. While I think we can all agree that it does affect the wildlife in some sort of way. I don't want us to be, I guess, naive to say, oh, there are no repercussions, because ultimately I believe there is. But I want you, the viewer, I want the world to ask this question. Do we benefit from SpaceX? Is it for the greater good of humanity for us to launch rockets with the expectations that Boca Chica will be the ticket to Mars? Maybe only time will tell. It is Wednesday, March 26th. In your opinion, how have you personally benefited from having SpaceX in Brownsville? I have benefited from SpaceX because I'm talking about it. I've monetized on it. I've gone live from Isla Blanca. I have gone live from the condo balcony, which saw right before the rocket was caught. So I think that's the way I've benefited from it, from SpaceX. I've monetized. I've made money off of my videos. That's how I have benefited from it personally. Thoughts on SpaceX protests happening at TSC later today? What? Give me information. I want to go. I want to be downtown right now. I have to go see a client right now at 11 in downtown Brownsville. Let me know. Please send me a message, Lozano, right now. I want to stop by because I'm going to be very close to the university, very close to TSC. Let me know. I want to go take pictures. I'll even go live. I did not know about that. Lunch invite? Let's go, man. Let me know. Let me know. Work is dwindling down. I have until March 31st to make any changes for my clients or any potential clients in regards to their Medicare Advantage insurance plans. And April 1st, everything starts to, I pick up on other products that I provide for my clients. But let me know, man. I'm all for meeting up with you, Danny. Let me know. I'm free. Oh, this is the okay. Let me see. Let me try and see if I can catch it. Hold on. I want to show the community very quickly. Let me see. I am interested in this. Let me see. I do want to show before I leave very quickly. I want to show that comp that. Oh, I see. Join us. Ah, I found it. Oh, it is. Wow. Thank you, Lozano. Let me share it. 1 second. Let me share it. For all those individuals that are interested, here it is. It reads, join us to protest to protect our community from LNG and SpaceX outside the state of Brownsville. City address sponsored by Rio Grande Valley. Despite winning a lawsuit that canceled their permit, Rio Grande LNG continues to destroy wetlands near Port Isabel and plans to expand their fossil fuel facility to process more toxic methane gas. If allowed to continue building, Rio Grande LNG would be the largest polluter in the Rio Grande Valley. On Wednesday, we will demand that Mayor Cowan and the city cut ties with Rio Grande LNG and SpaceX. SpaceX is polluting our land, water, and air with its failed rocket projects and wants to control access to Boca Chica Beach, our public beach. We must stand against these threats and reject extremist ideologies. Join us denouncing SpaceX. And it will be today, March 26th at 5 p.m. at Texas Southmost College. I think I'm going to stop by. Thank you so much for sharing this, with me. Time will tell. Time will tell once the original place that live in Brownsville, original people that live in Brownsville move due to not affording it. We are the Indians and they are the explorers. Man, that's a good one, Sam. We are the Indians and they are the explorers. Wow, that's a good one, my man. Go to the protest and interview the people. I just might, David Cook. Screw them. He should get the hell out of Brownsville. Good morning, Graciela. Thank you for tuning in. And again, people are very vocal because, again, this is our beach. This is our backyard. How would you feel? And Sam made a very interesting point. We are the Indians. They are the explorers. That's a good one. People can protest all they want, but it's a little bit too late. Those actions were needed 10 years ago. Good morning. Good morning, Graciela. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, March 26, 10:04 a.m. My name is Frankie Olivo. This is Live with Frankie. I encourage you to tune in Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. We will be discussing the very important issues that affect the city of Brownsville, Cameron County, and our sister city of Matamoros, Tamaulipas. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Be on time, because I will. Bye-bye.